Okay, if you've got a channel, small like mine, with less than 100 subscribers, less than 50 subscribers, I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do that will make a difference. Stick around and let's see what we got. Okay, in this video, we're going to go over 5 things that I've done over the last 4 months that's made a big difference. Now, most of these, or if not all, have been actually implemented over the last 2 months, which has drastically increased the number of views, people subscribing, you name it. Everything has picked up over the last 2 months. Now, my channel is still very small. It's still growing, but I wanted to share these things because I think they're going to help you. So I have a video that I put out there that literally blew up over a couple of days, at least for me, and then suddenly died completely dead, doornail, nothing. Out of the blue, huge numbers of views. I think it was at 1,100 views after a couple of days, and then died out to 0 views every day. And I'm going to explain later in this video exactly why I think that happened. I've been developing the channel for over the last 4 months. The channel's much older than that, but I've researched and actually started implementing these 5 things over the last 2 months and have had a drastic improvement. So let's go over these 5 items, and if you get something out of this, if this helps your channel, then and only then I ask that you would return and like and subscribe. Thanks. Let's get started. Okay, number 5. Okay, video metrics, extremely important. Okay, when your video has time to soak, sets in, and starts getting some views, starts getting some traction, and starts happening, then you'll have some information that YouTube's studio on your computer has this stored, and you can go and click on your video and then go to the metrics part of the video, and we'll go into some details with this. I'll put up some deals here to kind of show a screenshot of what it looks like. And you can look at your video metrics and you can see how the video is performing, because a lot of times you'll see a video will take off and 100% of the clicks, people start watching, and within less than 30 seconds it drops off to 50%, 80%, 90% of the people are clicking off of your video within the first 30 seconds, or within the first minute, or within the first 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, whatever the case may be. But the video metrics will show you where the people are dropping off from your video. And so they don't get to see all the rest of the information in your video that you know is there, but they don't know is there because they've clicked away from your video because something in the video caused them to lose interest. So once your video gets some traction and starts going, then you can go in there and check your metrics, and we will go to the edit section to where you will edit out that part of your video to where it starts to pick back up for the people that are actually watching past that point further into the video. And so use the editing function once you get some traction on your video to know what parts you need to cut out. Once you've uploaded it, you can't really make any difference on your video. So you need to keep this in mind while you're shooting a video so that you can make these edits later on if need be. It's not really a set way that I can tell you how to do that. You just got to keep that in the back of your mind. So you'll get in there and you can chop sections of your video out by watching it, and then YouTube will recombine your video and start showing it without that section. Now, the editing's not so smooth or even or not as nice as if you did it in your editing software, but you cut that slow section out and you start seeing people maintain the video, watch the video closer or longer instead of clicking away. And so the metrics and the information on your video starts to improve. People watch more, they're more engaged. And I'll explain to you why views are not as important as retention. And number 4. All right, end screens. End screens, that's another thing that I really didn't think much about, didn't think it was a very big deal. But once I started adding them, it made a difference because my click-through rate picked up, my engagement picked up, and they're actually clicking from a video into another video for those that watch to the end of the video. So that's a huge thing for YouTube. The more people stay on YouTube and watch videos, the more they push your content out there. So you want to make sure that you put video end screens on each of your videos. And I'll show you something up here, or a screenshot of the end screens where you can put your end screens in there. And if you don't have anything that you can add to it, you don't have very many videos, you don't have any playlists or anything, just leave it as is, but just add end screens and let YouTube suggest anything. Because it's better to have YouTube suggesting someone else's video that keeps them on YouTube from your video. And so that helps you as well as going from one of your videos to another one of your videos. So with your end screens, I recommend that you always create playlists so that you can set an end screen on your video that has a suggested video, a subscription tab, and a playlist video suggestion. And so those 3 in there, there's a large assortment of what someone can stay engaged in either your channel or YouTube in general, because YouTube is looking for you engagement in your channel to keep pushing your videos. But if your videos is keeping people on YouTube, that's also a plus for YouTube. And so that's where end screens help you in your retention on YouTube, and that helps you with your metrics that YouTube's looking at to push your content out there. So number 3. Number 3 is something that I've struggled with and had issues with and still kind of have problems with. At the beginning of your video, within the first 30 seconds, you want to have something that explains what you're going to tell someone, okay? Like in the intro, before anything else plays, because in my case, I watch a lot of videos on my television, and when I highlight a video, whether I've even clicked on it or decided to watch it, it plays a certain little from the beginning for a few seconds into the video, and sometimes I'll decide not to watch a video because of those first few seconds. So the first thing you want to be doing is explaining what you're going to give them in a video. So you want to make sure that that's the first thing that happens in your video before any splash screens, before any intro or anything else happens. Now, next, if you're going to have an intro, which I do on most of my videos, but I need to shorten it, you need as short as possible an intro. Probably in a 7 to no more than 10 second span is what your splash screen or your intro should be. Then the first thing that happens after that is you explain in what you're going to say in the video to keep engagement going. Number 3 is exactly that. Follow that procedure. First few seconds of your video, explain a shortened version of what's going to happen, what you're going to show in your video. Then at the beginning of your video, explain kind of a recap and details of what you're going to go over. And then start going through your video from that point forward. Number 2, okay, this is one of the very important things about your videos. You need to make sure that you have a good description on your video. In the beginning, whatever the file name was is whatever the description was, and that was it. So you need to make sure that you put as much information in that description about your video as possible. It can be very hard to do, but say you're like this video. The title of this video will probably be how to grow on YouTube from a very small channel, and maybe some highlights in that to make it, customized. And that's basically what this video is about. How to try to help someone who's very, very small. I'm not talking about a couple of hundred subscribers and need to pick up. I'm talking about no subscribers or less. Well, you can't have less than that. I'm talking about no subscribers, or 50 subscribers or less, or 100 subscribers or less, with 0 to little views per day. How to get started? How do you go from there? Because I was very thinking about basically stopping at some point, because it was just dragging along. And so I made some of these changes in my descriptions and really didn't get anything out of it. And I was about ready to give up. And a couple of months ago, I started implementing all of these things that we're talking about here today. And things have started picking up to the point that I felt led to make this video for anyone else in the same situation to hopefully help them. So, 2, descriptions. Make sure it's descriptive and you are covering what is going to be in that video. Number one, absolutely the number one thing for you to do in your video is your thumbnail. Thumbnails, period. Thumbnails. Make sure you do custom thumbnails. Do not ever let YouTube automatically put a thumbnail for you. This is probably the biggest thing that I have done, is to make custom thumbnails. Thumbnails are extremely important. Why? Okay, the thumbnail is what catches someone's attention with all those other flashy and fancy thumbnails out there. Nothing else we've talked about, nothing anybody else out there talks about in your about how to grow your YouTube channel is going to do any good whatsoever without those first 2 things, 1 and 2. Without those 2, no one's going to click on the video. The majority of people will not click on it when they've got all these other flashy thumbnails and descriptions and everything out there. The last thing, and this is the very last thing, but the first thing I covered that you want to do is go back and look at the metrics on your video.